Yo, it's your boy Mr. Box Office from Mr. Box Office TV, back with another video. And the reason for my video today, I wanted to speak about the favourite subject, which is Ange Postecoglou. And the reason why I want to speak about Ange Postecoglou is that there's so many reasons that I'm still not there with Ange. And really, it's the theme of this video, where I say I think he will walk at the end of the season. And for many reasons of this, it comes down to this. This season that we just had, where we finished fifth, you will see that that was a big achievement, a massive achievement where Tottenham Hotspur weren't really expected to do anything this season. It was a season of no expectations. And the fact that he had his best goal scorer leaving the club, the squad was in disarray, and there was other obstacles as well, and he got through them this season. But for me at the moment, I think there's certain things that I'm skeptical of still. One, I was told that this guy was a good coach. And from the evidence of last season, well, the season we just had, I don't see those elements. Yes, you can say you've got Van der Ven, you've got Adoji, there's Maddison that had a few good games at 10. Basuma that was good on the first 10 games. You've got Vicario. Maybe you've got a little bit of an argument with Richarlison. Johnson, meh. Definitely not Werner. And Solomon as well. Skip's not really improved, let's be honest here. Sarr, you've got a little bit of an argument. Porro got a little bit of an argument, but from the roster that was from the last roster last season, don't include the signings that we made, I don't see anyone that's really improved. And for me, that's a bit of a problem for me, because for me, I would be more on board if I saw an actual player actually excelling, like a Kulusevski, a Bentancur, a striker, scoring goals or creating and assisting and doing things and looking at the development and actually doing more. Now, I'm not just talking about, because I'm not looking at stats, because stats don't really give you the full picture of what really happens. But for me, when I saw managers like Martin Jol, your Pochettinos, the Harry Redknapps, you had players that actually improved throughout their reign. So, for instance, Modric, Bell for Harry Redknapp. You had Kabul. You had players that were just from the start when they came in. When Harry Redknapp had them, they improved in terms of players, the way that they play, the way of playing improved. They went into different positions. For instance, when Pochettino had Dembele, he played him in the midfield rather than playing more attacking, and he became the best. He played a really good role in that midfield for us. Where you use Vertonghen, sometimes playing him on the left. It's just the way Dyer, even though people don't rate him, he had him defender, played him in midfield. The way that Harry Kane developed under him as a youngster. Now, this is a thing I haven't seen with Postecoglou. Yes, he had to work out a style of play, which is what he said in June, which I actually defend, and that's it. But for a season that we had no Europe, we were out mostly at the Cups, Carabao Cup first round, fourth round in the FA Cup. So he had lots of time on the training ground with these players. And none of them really have improved. The thing is, I know when they can improve, because they'll give me a bit of a buzz when they're on the ball, or they give me a little bit of excitement if they're on the ball. I know for defenders, and that's it. Now, there is an argument for Porro. He's improved from last season. Now, for me, yeah, you can have that argument, but for me, I think he's got more in his locker. I think the last two games of the season showing you what he can do. I mean, especially against Burnley. He had that shot and he shot. He's got a good shot on him. And I think he should be scoring more goals, more assists, and really take on more players down that right-hand side. I think his play, the way that he plays, is hindered by the fact that he has to be inverted a lot of the time. And he doesn't use, and effectively, he can really hurt teams when he goes when he's wide. And that's it. But I don't think it really helps him being inverted. Also, I would even argue that for Doji as well. And that's it. The fact that it's taken him so long to play Van der Ven on the left, that was confusing as well. Now, yeah, there's an argument that he played Emerson in defence and Davis in defence, and Davis didn't do too badly, but he was doing that under Conte though. So that was an easy decision for him. That was a thing, really. So, but ultimately, I look at players like Maddison, Basuma, they really have regressed since those first 10 games. And really not really doing too much. They're not expressing themselves, they're not taking chances, taking risks. And then the front three, I'm sorry, I'm just, you know what I feel about the front three. I've told you what I feel about all of them, and I don't feel anything good. Even Son, for me, has regressed as well. So that has to be on the players, but also on the manager. So that's one thing. That's one other reason. Two, I mean, for me, at the moment, the transfers are a bit worrying for me. Gallagher, now that I'm sorry, regardless what you say about his stats and whatever, him as a player, and I know he's played under Poch, so Poch loved him. I understand that, but he's gonna have to convince us about him, and that's it for me. That's got to work. If that's his signing, it needs to work. Callum Hudson-Odoi, don't know. Again, I mean, I understand it, but at the same time, is he going to be better than what we've got? And is he going to develop even more? That's the point. And can he develop his game into another avenue and that's it? And at the moment, with the players that we've got at the moment, you've got a Kulusevski that, for me, has got the potential to do more than he's doing at the moment. He's looking awful at the moment. But play him up front, try him up front, let's see what he does. But again, why was this not done during the season when he was not doing well? Again, he was just dropped, and that's it. The youngsters, that was another thing as well. The youngsters. We see them youngsters in a Nina's game in Australia, in Melbourne, against Newcastle. Then you see TRS Hall. Everyone's raving about him. Mikey Moore. But we didn't see them during the season. When we were struggling and we were playing the same players and they was just sitting on the bench, why were they not given a chance? I mean, this is the only opportunity they had. Now, I know that they might not be good enough, but again, why do we overhype them in the first place? Why were people telling me they were the class of 92? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't get it, really, for me. That's just my opinion, that's it. But on the other things as well that are really concerning for me, it's just, I don't know why. Why is he going off to doing punditry for ITV now? Is that just another way of just trying to promote himself and that's it? I just don't get it, for me. I just think, for me, put your head low down and just focus on next season. Because if this is the most important season for you next season to prove yourself, I think that's the main thing at the moment, because he's done absolutely nothing. Yeah, you've achieved getting Europa League, cool. But this was a season with no expectations. You now see teams that were struggling last season, like, for instance, Chelsea. Chelsea that didn't start well. Now, Chelsea finished well this season, but they still sacked their manager, Pochettino. And I see more development in their team with some certain players like Palmer. That's a class striker. Yes, he's got to do better next season, but I see more development with him, and that's it for me. There's other players as well. Gallagher, for instance, as well. He's now become more of the first team for Chelsea, and that's it. You see more development in some of those certain players there that you see at Tottenham Hotspur right now, but they still sack their manager because the two manager and the owners do not see eye to eye about the future of Chelsea. Manchester United, they've been very bad this season, even though they're in the final in the FA Cup. They've had Champions League this season. They could still win the FA Cup and still sack their manager. Then you've got Newcastle. Newcastle had a great season last season, getting into Champions League. They still finished well this season. And you still see lots of development in their team as well. Not to mention they brought in Joel Linton, who was a striker, and Eddie Howe turned him into a midfielder. There's just certain things that you're seeing. Gamerish from Newcastle is a really good midfielder, and he's developing better than some of the midfielders we've got as well. And then you've got Isaac, 100 times better than most of our front three. Let's be honest here. It's just all these elements I'm seeing at the moment that are concerning me at the moment. And that needs to he needs to prove next season for me. Now, just being a good coach, because that's what Tottenham needs, is a coach. This needs to work. He needs to be here for 4 years, yes. But you know exactly what I feel, how I'll back this, when I'll back this process. You know what it is. If you've heard me how many times where I need the board to back this guy when fans are saying Ange out, yes. But my issue is at the moment, there are things with Ange Postecoglou. Yeah, I see about the football. I see why he's got his philosophy about attacking football. But I'm not seeing the development of players. I'm not seeing the development of players getting better what they're doing. Finding all dynamic things about their play, and that's it. I'm not seeing it. I haven't seen it this season. And for me, this was the season to do it with no expectations and less games. Next season, now, with Europa League and other competitions, and now you've got to achieve something next season with more expectations now for last season, there's less time to help people during training sessions, and that's it. Have we actually got a coach or just a manager that needs coaches under him to help develop the players? So if that's the case, some of the coaches that we've got at the moment are not good enough. And there's maybe the problem here. And why we've not seen any of the players actually get better. Because it's too much about the system and not about the individual players. Yes, you can play in the system and play well in the system and know what the system is, but also you need to improve the way you play, and that's it as well. You can do a job, but you can also do more in your job to help other players and actually make players look good as well. If you're doing more for your job, and that's it. Like, for instance, yeah, Romero, Van der Ven, look good. But I think Romero can do more. Why can he not play the number 6 role? Again, a coach would see that and try and home into it straight away. These are just little things that I just don't like at the moment. And I think the frustration that we've seen from Ange is just looking at it and thinking, am I good enough to do this or not? Because with Celtic, you can get away with that. With his other jobs, you can get away with that. Not at Tottenham, though. We have to wait and see whether this is what we've got as a manager. Whether we've got a coach that can make players better, or a manager that needs his players to work in the system. And that's it. And yes, I know that he needs to get his players that like every coach needs their players. Even Pep Guardiola needed certain players. Like for instance, he had to get Kyle Walker for his right hand side and another wing back as well that plays his system. I understand that, and that's without saying, yeah, he does need his players, but it's just those certain things that I think with the time that he's had during last season with no expectations, I think I'd just like to see a little bit more of that, the coaching side of him, trying to adapt to certain things as well. Now, I'm not saying change the way he plays, no. I'm saying that just to adapt to certain ways with certain players. And certain players, like people like the Celso, for instance, that I openly admit I don't rate because I don't think he wanted to be here, and that's it. But he didn't use him, even though he played better than Maddison in certain occasions, and that's it. But Maddison was still getting chances, and that was it, because Ezesi was still getting chances. The fact that Dragusin was left till the very last minute, last couple of games until he got on, that was confusing as well. When he was our big signing last season, everyone was going over the top about him, going really like raving about him when he came in. The fact that he kept on using Werner, even though Werner clearly was not good enough, clearly didn't have that arrogance and what we needed to do what he was doing, and that's it. And he said yes to him as well when he was offered it on the table to us, and that's it. And the fact that he didn't use any youngsters, and that's it for me. And again, it's like, well, he had them on the bench, like Dorrington, like Ashley Phillips, and he didn't use them, and that's the thing. And you don't know until you try them. And when you're going to try these players, and that's it for me. It's a lot of things where I can't sit here and say, I love this manager. I can't. And I just feel that there's too many similarities to what I've seen from other managers as well. But I just think we're saying it sooner. And I just think for me at the moment, he's put a lot of pressure on next season to see how we achieve it. Now, yeah, he might get his players and see what happens, but it just is very confusing. And I think he talks a lot and digs a hole for himself a lot as well. Hence why I'm sitting there thinking, why are you going on punditry for ITV at the moment? Because you know there's gonna be a question about Tottenham in there. You know they're gonna ask him about Tottenham, and that's the thing. And regardless whether there is a connection, that there might be a little bit of a synergy with the manager and the owner at the moment, and the hierarchy at the moment, they're all working the same way. They want to achieve the same way. There's a part of me that still sits there and say, I've not heard anything from the club to say to me at the moment they're on the same wavelengths as Postecoglou, who said openly he wants to win the league next season. Now, regardless what the transfer window says to me, he's under a lot of pressure next season. So, love the fact he wants to play great football, but he needs better players to play that system. And these players that are going to be better than they are the season that we just had. And that comes with coaching. And with the less time we've got on the training ground this next season, pre-season is going to be very, very important. Especially if you want to do well in the cups. You're not going to have much time on the training ground to get better. Which again, hence the reason why you hear in the news why we're going to let go of a lot of players. Up to 10 I've heard, and that's it. So that just gives you a bit of an insight of why I feel the way I feel at the moment. And hopefully you get an understanding where I'm at the moment. I'm still really sceptical. Don't like the manager. I'm still not there with the manager. And you have to just see where it goes, and that's it. Keep liking, subscribing, and put your notifications on. You'll see more videos like this as Mr. Box Office is going on tour soon. Maybe keep a peek out for other videos as well. And as always, if you didn't know, get to know, support your boy, Mr. Box Office, subscribe and like, and come on you Spurs. And I'm out.